We are back. This is Steve Sanson, Andre Haynes with Veterans in Politics. Before we get into our rants, I just want to make sure that I introduce the two guests that are going to come on. We're going to have Aaron Lale, who's a candidate for Henderson City Council. And then we're going to have Mark Stevens, who is the Henderson Municipal Court judge and a candidate for his reelected seat. So what's up, Andre? How you doing, man?
Hey, trying to stay warm in this cold weather, brother.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's no place for bald guys like me.
I know. You need to get some hair on your head, some hair on your face, like me.
It won't grow, man. I didn't reach puberty yet.
Oh, that's too bad. What are you gonna do about that? You gonna take something to?
I'm gonna get some of those growth hormones.
There's probably a chemical out there that probably could help you with that.
Yeah, the growth hormones, testosterone shots.
You're funny, but you have any rants?
Yeah, you know what? Lately, the folks out here in Carson City, they've been in an uproar about those horses. You hear about that? It's the horses are they're running wild, and they are property of the state government here. And they're supposed to, I believe one of the auctions have already taken place, but a lot of the horse lovers were complaining, and they were fighting and protesting because they didn't want these horses to go to auction out of fear that they would end up going to a slaughterhouse. Mm-hmm. And when I look around at all of the killings and the murders going on, in town, the young 10-year-old girl that was killed by the lady who slashed someone at the Bellagio, or you look at some of the deaths that are, officer-involved shootings. Nobody's making a claim or a case or yelling about that. And nothing against horses. I like horses. I've ridden them. I'd love to own one. But nobody's making a fuss about any of those issues.
Oh well, look at that pit bull. Yeah, that was in the backyard.
Yeah.
So
the dog's picture made the paper.
Not only the dog's picture made the paper. There was a protest.
Yeah, there was.
I'm like, wait a minute. Look how many officers involved shooting of human beings, unarmed, and there was no protest.
Yeah. I mean, and we just had also, there was a African-American male found dead in Arizona who was burnt to death, but he was killed in Las Vegas.
He was stabbed to death.
Right, stabbed. Yeah. And the suspects were found, I want to say, in Louisiana. There's a story about that, but there's all these human deaths going on, different causes, but nobody's making a fuss. But animals, and I love animals. I've had all kind of exotic animals. I don't want them throwing paint on me outside. That's why I'm giving that disclaimer. I love the animals, but people making a fuss over the animals, but not as much over human life.
But on another side about that pit bull that was shot and killed by Metro. According to what was said, is that the Metro responded to a neighbor's call that a gunshot, and they went in that backyard. That's not where the call was for, but they had to go through the backyard to get into another backyard or something like that to find out where to call. Find out where the actual point where this gunshot was coming from. But there wasn't no gunshot. But anyways. The thing, the purpose of what I'm really trying to say is that Metro said they went in this backyard. They weren't invited. There was no cause for them to be back there. I mean, it wasn't an incident or anything like that. The dog protecting his backyard. Let's say the dog went after the cop. Let's just say. But their response to this whole thing is, what if a kid went back there?
No, you can't say what if.
That
doesn't work with the law.
It's like
only a conspiracy.
Well, it's like the kid gonna jump over the fence. You know what I'm saying? And no kid should be. I mean, nobody should be on anybody's property unless they're invited.
You have permission to be there.
And a dog is used for what?
Protection.
That is some bull crap. Well, what if somebody killed a canine dog? Would they be upset about that?
Oh, you'd be charged with murder.
I know, and there'd be a doggone parade for the dog, and the dog's picture would be all over the place.
It'd be the biggest thing since last
and it'd be a big funeral procession. Oh. I just don't understand.
Well,
this is what I understand. Hypocrite. That's all I understand, is that hypocrite.
Yeah, and lock your dog up. You know,
lock your dog up. Don't leave your dog in your backyard.
It's unfortunate, you know, because I know if it were me, I would definitely want to sue civilly because I understand. Fine, you think you heard gunshots and possibly you need to enter one backyard to gain access to another, but you know, no warrant, no probable cause, no invitation. Not like you knocked on my door and said, hey, do you mind if we go through your backyard to get here? And if you have any dogs, alligators, or kids, put them away.
Yeah.
So that, you know, that did not happen.
Right.
And so if it were me, you know, I would definitely, you know, sue civilly.
Yeah. And what about all these grow houses that they were talking about?
Yeah, they just had the big bust in the lakes, Peconley Ranch in Summerlin, my area. It was a few blocks.
They busted 2 this week.
Yeah, it's a few blocks from my house. The biggest one, I think it was little. They seized.
You know what?
million?
You know what? It's 4.1, and they seized another one. That the other one they seized about 1,500 plants. There's another one right after that. Was Wednesday. There's another one that happened yesterday.
Hey, but
they seized about 500 to 1,000 plants.
But you know what's interesting, and I need your help. I want to circulate a petition. Listen, I got some right in the area where they busted that home a few years ago. I got some speeding tickets over there, right? And I knew it wasn't my fault, Steve. And I'm thinking now that they discovered those grow houses, maybe when I was driving through there with the windows down, I got a contact high, and it caused me to speed.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be held responsible for that. So
I'm just saying. That makes sense because they went in a whole full hazmat suit.
Right.
Because they smelled
right.
You know, a peculiar smell.
Right.
I mean, what do you think they smelled?
Weed. And
it's like went to a meth house.
And if there's any residents in our local area that within radius where they could smell that and, you know, they could get a contact high and they failed a drug test for a job or for the parole, there's got to be some kind of legal recourse to go back, man. There's proof.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
You know, there's a difference between a meth house and a grow house.
That's right.
The smells are like completely different. So when they said when they bust in a grow house and they're saying we have a peculiar smell, it's weed.
That's right. That's right. Not ammonia.
So when they fail a drug test, they're going to say, hey, you know, we went on that grow house bus and
that's right.
And we smelled, but I don't think any of the weed was on fire. I don't think nobody was smoking any.
I don't know.
It was just the plant, right?
Yeah. I hear a song coming on called Blame It on the Grow House.
Yeah. But anyways, you have any other?
That's it, brother.
You know, for people out there that have a problem with any of us saying anything on our program or anything like that, let me read a disclaimer that's above all of our archives and on our show. It says, the opinions and statements expressed are those of the guest and host of Veterans in Politics and do not necessarily reflect those of Vegas All Net Radio, its affiliates, or its parent company. What the hell does that mean? That means that we are responsible for our own actions.
That's right.
So if any of you out there that decided to write the station because you don't like something we said maybe about you,
the station is the wrong party to write.
Sue us. Don't bother the station.
Yeah, and we're protected by free speech.
That's right.
And we're online, so we're not governed by the FCC.
Exactly. We're not governed by the FCC. We're protected by the Constitution. There's a doggone disclaimer on the show. There's a disclaimer on the webpage. And this particular person, I don't want to even give it any more attention. I'll just give his initials. GK. Okay? Those are his initials. This guy, this a-hole, is complaining that I asked a certain judge if he was her personal trainer. And then I said, hey, I just want to squash these rumors that I heard. That was basically it. I asked if he was her personal trainer, and I asked if she knew him. And in both counts, she answered no. Then I didn't even go too far into it. That was it. So in order for anybody to sue, they have to claim damages.
Right. And
so if they don't have any damages,
there's no lawsuit.
I don't want anybody to waste my time. If you don't have any damages and you don't file a lawsuit and subpoena me in court, I don't want to hear nothing about it.
And I got to tell you, I mean, asking a judge, a person who is trusted, elected, and respected by the citizens, asking a judge whether or not someone is a trainer, that's actually a compliment, and that's in the industry, that's considered product placement. You gave him a free endorsement, even though that judge answered no.
Look at that.
And we've got people buying airtime
just
and
to get
sponsorships, and they got that for free, and that was their response.
Because I asked a judge.
If it had been me, I would have gave you a free 30-day pass and said, brother, keep on talking about it.
Because I asked a judge if he was her personal trainer. I'm so damaged. Wow. Please take that archive down. Grow up and get a pair. That's all I gotta say.
Well, obviously the trainer.
I went on air on KLAV one time when it had a show called Eye on Vegas. Okay. And I asked the sheriff, why did he take the information off of scope when he had 2 incidents of domestic violence to his house? Now, that would be something different.
Yeah.
You don't hear the sheriff got his panties in a wad coming over here and talking crap, right?
Well, hey,
and that was on the radio. Yeah. That wasn't even on the internet.
Yeah. Well, obviously the trainer is not inside the gym training, so he or she does not have any clients.
So GK, grow a pair. All right.
Thanks for listening.
And stop bothering. Oh, yeah. Thank you for listening to the program. We appreciate your
support,
listening, pleasure, and support.
Keep on listening.
Yeah, keep our numbers growing.
Where can they send their donation? Where can they mail it to?
P.O. Box 28211, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89126.
And VIP is a 501c3 organization, so you can write that off on your taxes.
Actually, it's a 501c4.
Oh, sorry, 501c4.
And we don't have to tell anybody who our endorsers are. Donors are, sorry.
It was that grow house. That's why
we don't have to tell anybody who our donors are, by the way.
Donor privacy.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, got anything else?
That's it.
I hope I squashed this about, because it was a couple of years ago, there was another person that complained that she didn't like what we said on the air about her. And now this one. So, today, what's today's date? January what?
January the 12th.
January 12th. If I don't have a lawsuit in my hand, don't even bother me completely. I don't want to hear nothing about it because I hear so much BS on a regular basis. I don't need to add to my BS. If you don't have a lawsuit, go away. You're just using the scare tactic, and I know what a scare tactic is, and I just don't get scared.
That's right.
So, go shove it, GK. This is Steve Sands, Andre Haynes of Visit Politics. We'll be back with Aaron Lyle, who is the candidate for Henderson Council.
Veterans in Politics takes a proactive approach to provide you, the veteran, with the political voice for which you fought and served.
Veterans in Politics is becoming the premier veteran organization of the 21st century, with political candidate interviews, insight, and endorsements.
Public speaking engagements in support of American values.
Radio shows to keep you updated on the latest in veteran and military support operations.
Providing job placement and business support.
Go to veteransinpolitics.com today and do your part in defending liberty.
Americans have been fooled by politicians about illegal immigration. They make you think that if you bring up this topic, you are a racist. Did you know that America is the only country on this planet that does not enforce its federal immigration laws? For the fear of being called a racist. I am for legal immigration. I was born on the island of Jamaica, became an American citizen, served 12 years in the U.S. military, served in Desert Storm, and received a Presidential Unit Citation, National Defense Medal, and Marine Corps Commendation. Our immigration laws serve a purpose. I understand that this country was founded on immigration, but there is a wrong way and a right way. I'm here to tell you that illegal immigration is breaking our federal laws. Why don't you call me a racist? This is Steve Sanson.
Hello,
I'm Kieran Hill. I was recently unsuccessful in my bid for Nevada's Congressional District 4, but the struggle for the rights of Nevadans must continue. Gun rights require constant vigilance. The Clark County Sheriff and North Las Vegas PD have a history of not respecting state law and the Constitution. Tax rights. Nevadans already pay too much in taxes at the state and federal level. The NDAA bill is an egregious attack on our constitutional rights. For more information, go to www.kieranhill.com.
Well, we are back. This is Steve Sanson, Andre Haynes with Veterans in Politics. We have live in studio Erin Lyle. I hope I pronounce your last name correctly. Is that right?
Yes, it's Lyle.
Okay. A candidate for Henderson City Council. Erin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Great. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been in Nevada since '95. I originally moved here to open a business, and I've been in Henderson for 11 years now, and I think Henderson's a great place to live, and I just want to give back to my community, so that's why I want to help out my city by serving on the city council.
Well, what seat you running for?
I'm running for Ward 3, which is the seat that Kathleen Vermillion resigned from.
The one Councilman John Martz?
Yeah, Mars. Yeah.
And my understanding is that when he was appointed by the city council, the only reason why he was appointed is because he made a statement that he wasn't going to run for the seat. Is that about right?
That is what he said. Yes, he made a very impassioned speech about how it would be unfair for someone who was not elected to run as the incumbent. And he has not announced that he's running. He has announced that he's thinking about it.
Why would he think about it if he make a speech like that?
I don't know. Maybe he changed his mind. I hope he didn't change his mind, because I think he was right. It is unfair for an appointed non-elected person to run as the incumbent.
Well, you know, I know a lot of people that are appointed to different elected seats that run for a position, for that same seat they were appointed. But if somebody made a statement saying that, hey, you know, if you appoint me, I'm not going to run, then you just got to stick by it.
Well, that's what I think, and I hope that he does stick by it.
So exactly, why are you running for this seat, Erin?
Well, I think that I could do a great job on the city council. I served on the Southern Nevada Adult Mental Health Advisory Board for several years, and serving on a board is a great experience and a great opportunity to help my fellow human beings. When I was on the mental health board, I initiated an action by the board that successfully blocked a move by the DMV to deny driver's licenses to people who had received any counseling services, including marriage counseling. So I stood up for common sense.
That would be something the city council would impact?
Well, this is an example of my service on a board previously. The city council is also a board that is a small group of people that cooperate with each other and have to reach a sort of a consensus if you want to accomplish anything. You can't just be the lone voice.
I guess what I'm getting at is, in your experience, what could you bring to the city council that would move in a direction that a city council is supposed to be moved in?
Well, I think the most important issue in Henderson right now is jobs, the economy, because everything hinges on that. One of the major reasons that the city council has had to cut the budget is because the property values are down, and the property values are down because people can't afford a house if they don't have a job. So what I want to do is I want to help invigorate the local economy, and I have some. How so? I have some plans for that. One thing that I would like to do is I'd like to have a business license fee holiday for the first 3 years of a startup business. The first 3 years are the crucial years for success of a new business. And this would empower businesses of all size, including micro businesses, And a micro business is a business that can be started for under $200. And this is a proven model for helping people lift themselves up out of poverty.
You said business license holiday. Explain exactly what that entails.
Basically, that means if you want to start a business, if you've been looking for a job for 3-4 years, however long the recession and depression have lasted, you've got your tools, you've got your truck, you've got your skills, and you're ready to go out and say, start your own handyman business. You go do that.
Are you a business owner?
Not at the moment.
But
I have been a business owner.
Have you? Oh, so how many employees have you had?
I have.
And what type of business was it?
Yeah, I owned an independent book and gift store in Las Vegas, and I did not have employees at that time. But what I did have is I had a cooperative venture with other business people that they would place their items in my store. It was sort of a consignment arrangement, and I had a number of people that were cooperating on that.
Andre?
Now, in regards to the business license holiday, would you suspend or reduce the fees for business licenses?
For new businesses, yes.
Okay, now I have a question for you. On the financial end, hypothetically, let's say the city of Henderson collects $250,000 annually from business license fees, and let's say you implemented this holiday, and the city of Henderson is now minus $100,000, which leaves a positive net balance of $150,000. What would you do to offset or supplement the income that is lost from the business license holiday?
This wouldn't be a minus because it's only for new businesses.
Right, but I'm sure, I don't know if you know the stats, but every year the city of Henderson makes X amount of dollars from fees collected on new business licenses. And if that fee were reduced, or if it were prolonged to be paid 3 years later, that now is a deficit or lost income that the city of Henderson no longer has, that can affect public services or it can affect other departments. So if you implemented that, and if it was incorporated, what would you do to carry the financial slack that would create?
I believe that if people can start businesses and get more jobs, that the property values in our city will go up, and there's much greater potential for property tax income for the city, because the property values right now are about half of what they were at their peak. If property values recovered another quarter, which they could do if the unemployment rate in our city went down about, say, 2%, the property values would recover, and the city would get much more from that than it would from the fees.
Okay, so let's say it took 12 months for the city to recover the lost income based on property value increasing. What would you do for the 12 months when maybe 5 or 10 departments now have less money at the city level because they were relying on that money to fund their departments? What would you do to keep them not having to lay off people or not give them bonuses or plans for expansion that they've allocated for? How would you fix that problem that's now become an issue?
If there is an additional deficit of city funds for whatever reason, now the city of Henderson is actually doing a pretty good job at keeping its budget down. But one thing that we could do is delay new building. And instead of new building, if a city department needs to expand, they could expand into existing commercial real estate. When we have all these empty shopping centers all over the city, and we do have empty city-owned properties that could handle the overflow of any department that needs to expand until the economy recovers. Now, this is one of the things that can actually spur economic growth. When I was the founding chairman of City Lights Artists Co-op, we got a city-owned empty building that had been sitting empty since the Pepcon explosion in the 70s. We refurbished it. We moved in an art gallery. Now, we were the first back on that part of the street, on Water Street, and we brought foot traffic. We brought other businesses. We were so successful at reinvigorating that part of that street that the gallery eventually had to move off of Water Street and onto a side street. That entire system where one thing moves in and then it attracts other businesses and creates more economic growth is something that the city could replicate.
Because the thing is, I mean, when we look around the state of Nevada, just in Clark County, and you look at the attempts that have been made to incorporate businesses downtown, you know, that former Mayor Oscar Goodman and now his wife Carolyn Goodman are working on. You look at other places. It sounds good and it makes sense theoretically. And if the numbers, I guess, are tweaked right on paper, it even looks good. But when it's implemented and done, it doesn't happen that way. When you look at Neonopolis is Las Vegas. Now, Las Vegas and Henderson.
Right,
but I'm talking principle and what actually happens versus theory. It's never worked out. Lots of people have made the same theory and it hasn't happened. And the other thing is too, I mean, unless you're a commercial real estate professional that's worked for a bank or a Coldwell banker, you don't know what's going to happen with the market value of properties, and you don't know how long it will take for an alleged or hypothetical increase in value to trickle down and to reach the citizens and benefit. I mean, it sounds good, but that's not your background. So you're basing a what if on real estate value, and you're saying if it affects other areas or departments of the city of Henderson, then we could use this budget and we could go here. So, I mean, you're putting yourself in a precarious position, because if you were to be elected and if that was incorporated, your decision can now have negative impacts on other councilmen or other people that sit on the board with you.
I've seen this work. It worked on the north side of Water Street, and I was one of the principal people involved in putting that gallery in there and working with the Henderson Redevelopment Agency. And we turned an empty street into a thriving business district. We did it before, and we can do it again.
You touched on a little bit about the Henderson budget. Do you know what the budget is?
Not off the top of my head. I actually came prepared to talk about veterans issues.
Okay. And that's why we always throw people.
Yeah.
And okay, fair enough. What spending would you cut in the budget?
New expansion of new city property until the commercial real estate market recovers. Right now we have too much empty.
So you're talking about there's commercial properties that are has a lot of vacancy in Henderson.
Yeah, and I think that we can do the same thing that we did with the Henderson Redevelopment Agency and the City Lights Artists Gallery.
Well, you know what? Sorry to cut you off, Aaron, but you know what? If you want to talk about veteran issues, if you draft maybe a city ordinance or something like that says veteran-owned business would get X amount of dollars or cut this fee or cut that fee for veterans to actually open up a business, and there maybe those vacancies might be filled.
Yeah, that would definitely it would definitely benefit veterans and their families.
Are there homeless veterans in Henderson?
In Henderson itself,
right.
But actually most of the homeless services are actually located outside Henderson.
Do you know how many homeless veterans are in Henderson?
I do not know. I actually.
See, now I'm throwing veteran questions at you.
Yeah, no, actually, what I came with is a list of resources for people.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear them.
Yeah, there's the Nevada State Veteran Services, which is nevada.nv.gov. There is the Veterans Affairs Office, which is dvnf.org. There's an organization called Operation IV, which is a group that provides services to veterans who have need of finding a job.
Did you get that off the website?
Off of your website?
Off the internet. All right, let me ask you.
This is the list that was in the article that.
What veteran organizations have you attended in Henderson?
I have not.
Okay. Do you know where the Veteran of Foreign Wars is in Henderson?
Yes, I do.
Where's that?
You said where? Oh, I thought you meant said what was it?
Where's the Veteran of Foreign Wars in Henderson?
I have not been to their building in Henderson. I've been to their Las Vegas building. They've had some events.
I'm not trying to beat you up, but we have so many people. We've interviewed a lot of candidates through the years, and we have so many people come on all different types of what they call those
trendy
talking
topics.
points.
Yep.
Talking points, and jobs is like the biggest thing. And then when you say jobs, people are supposed to stop what they're doing and listen to you. And then when somebody comes and say, I want to talk about veteran issues, and then I start throwing veteran questions and start asking, where have you visit as far as veterans are concerned, and then you come back and tell me you have not, it's kind of disappointing.
No, I have not been to their building, but I have spoken to a lot of people that have various organizations that help veterans. And if you take a look at the article that I recently published in the Las Vegas Guardian Express, there's a list of resources at the end of the article that will tell you how to find a resume service for veterans, how to find a service for veterans that helps people with PTSD.
Okay, have you helped any of these veterans personally yourself?
I am acting as a clearinghouse to connect people with services that are available that they might not know how to access.
And as far as veterans are concerned, how many veterans have you connected?
I don't know, because it's part of the newspaper. It's on the newspaper website.
I see.
So I don't really have access to how many people have seen it.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is that a clearinghouse like this is a good first step, and that is something that the city can help with too. Eventually, when the economy recovers, I would really like to see the city have a veteran services officer that do more than just have a clearinghouse.
Okay. And have you made any steps for that? Have you petitioned any of the city council members?
It's not the right time yet.
Okay.
Because
it's never a right time to help a veteran.
No, it's not the right time to ask the city to add an employee, because they've been cutting employees.
Okay.
But we have to get the economy going first, right. And when the city budget recovers, there's so much more that we can do once we have the money to do it.
Well, we're going to have to wrap it up, Aaron. Could you give us your point of contact?
Yes, my website is aaron-lale.org. That's ERIN-LALE.org.
Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Aaron Lale, who is running for Henderson City Council. This is Steve Sanson, Andre Haynes of Veterans in Politics. Don't go away, folks. We're going to have Judge Mark Stevens.
Are you a business owner struggling during these economic times? Please listen up. How would you like to put your business and services in front of every resident and business in the Las Vegas Valley for less than a penny per home? Yes, that's right. I said less than 1 cent per home and business. And how would you like to have a dynamic and exciting online presence with the major search engines? How about an online video for your business and a fully optimized website with absolutely no setup fee? Hi, my name is George. If you are interested in these and other services that can make your phone ring with clients and prospects, then call me at 702-296-8394. Just call George at 702-296-8394. Thank you.
This is Jim Jonas asking you to listen to Veterans in Politics. Veterans in Politics is a weekly broadcast internet talk show hosted by myself, Jim Jonas, and Steve Sanson, president of Veterans in Politics Incorporated, that airs every Saturday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. at www.vegasallnetradio.com. Veterans in Politics' sole purpose is to teach, educate, and inform veterans on issues and the candidates that will affect them. Too many politicians say they support veterans and their issues, but their actions tell a different story. Here at Veterans in Politics, we will expose these politicians by giving them a chance to come in and explain their actions to veterans so veterans can truly make informed decisions. Listen every Saturday to stay informed and to hold politicians accountable for their votes.
While growing up, I've always asked my family, who is my father? I was told the name of a man. When I became older, I looked for this man and found him. He thought that I was his son as well, but after a DNA test, it was discovered that my family was lying to me all my life. I pressured my family to give me the real identity of my father. I then became suspicious and took my grandfather's DNA. After I buried my grandfather, 2 days later I discovered that my grandfather was in fact my biological father. I questioned myself and asked, what is my purpose on this earth? I should have never been conceived. But when I look at my 4 children, I knew that everything happens for a reason. This is Steve Sanson. Find your identity.
This is Steve Sanson, Andre Haynes of Veterans in Politics. We have live Judge Mark Stevens, the Henderson Municipal Court Judge, and also he's in charge of Veterans Court. Judge, how you doing?
Very good. How you doing, Steve?
Judge, could you give us a bio about yourself? The short version.
Okay. Short version, ultimately I joined the Marine Corps as a JAG officer.
Hoorah.
Judge advocate. Hoorah. And primarily I was defense attorney in the Marine Corps. The end of my tour, I was a company commander. I had 410 Marines. It was a large company. Pretty rewarding experience.
What was your rank when you came out, Judge?
I was just a captain.
Just a captain?
I was a captain, yeah. I got out and ultimately I became an instructor at a law enforcement academy up in Nebraska for a while, and then came back here and I was an attorney during the day, and I was a police officer at night in Henderson.
Whoa. What did he just say? He was an attorney during the day and a police officer at night? Isn't that a conflict of interest? What state?
Civil.
Yeah.
It was civil.
Yeah, different practices.
Totally different. I did mostly construction defect litigation during the day, and then I was a cop at night.
Being a cop is not rewarding enough for you? You have to be an attorney as well?
I wanted to use both, do both. And ultimately I figured out after a few years that I ended up switching over to this.
So you knew the Miranda rights like it was back of your hand, right?
It was interesting as a cop being an attorney as well.
Did you litigate as an attorney?
Well, construction defect, mostly you're doing depositions and very little litigation.
I gotta ask you something, Judge. If you were an attorney during the day and a police officer at night, you didn't make a whole lot of arrests, did you? Because you didn't want to do all that paperwork. That would just mess you up in your attorney job.
That is not right. No, it actually worked pretty well because I get off at 8 in the morning, and you'd have to go over to court at 9, so it just goes straight from there to court. And,
did you sleep?
That was the problem, and that's why I ultimately resigned both positions and went to, officially I was a police officer on temporary assignment at city attorney's office for the first year, and then I switched over to the city attorney's office for a number of years. And then a judge that I primarily practiced in front of was retiring, Judge Proctor. And
where's this?
Back in Henderson.
Okay. And I was still in Nebraska.
No, my law enforcement was here in Henderson.
Okay.
Well, it was in Henderson.
Okay.
And then he retired, so I ran for his position, and then I've been in that position for 6 years. The last little over a year, I've been the chief judge for the Henderson Municipal Courts, and I guess about a year and a half ago, a little more than that, started a Veterans Court, which is on every Thursday afternoon, is dedicated to Veterans Court.
And let me add, and this is not an endorsement at all, because we can't do anything like that until after the interview process on February 23rd. But you have done an outstanding job with Veterans Court. Well, I just want to put that out there.
Well, I really appreciate that.
Because I like to beat people up, and I don't do too many compliments, but you've done an outstanding job with Veterans Court.
Well, I really appreciate that, but I have to actually acknowledge the team, because it's the team that did an awesome job.
Really a humble guy too, huh?
Well, it's true. I've got great folks that are really dedicated to Veterans Court that make it work. I get to sit up there in the black robe, but
just look pretty
and look pretty. Right. But and it's a lot of hard work and it's very rewarding. But my staff and everybody, because it's a very integrated program, we use as many assets as we can in developing that. And I think our court's a little different as well, is because basically almost everybody that's part of that team is a veteran themselves, to include the public defender, the prosecutor, even my marshal, the veteran treatment, Veterans Administration coordinator. He's a veteran. So we have a ton of folks that really work hard for the program, to include volunteers on mentors, which is a huge part.
I heard you're looking for mentors. You want to put some kind of a number and tell people who they need to contact?
Certainly. My number and my judicial executive assistant,
for the mentors,
her number is 267-3350. That's 267-3350, and she can get that on to Colonel Olds and Colonel Smith, who are both the mentor coordinators that we utilize right now, and they do a wonderful job of.
And explain how important these mentors are to the Veterans Court program.
Well, it's essential, because I can't be everywhere, and neither can my staff. And these folks act as a role model, a guide, confidant, all those things wrapped up into one.
And you have to be a veteran to be a mentor.
Correct. That's the one thing we require them to be.
No Boy Scouts.
No Boy Scouts.
Civil Air Patrol.
We're really looking for folks that we need some more women mentors.
Right.
But it's crucial. And I can give you one example. I had a guy Christmas Eve, and we've been waiting for an inpatient treatment center for him for the last almost 6 months, trying to get him in a good inpatient treatment center. Well, on the 24th of December, of all days, Christmas Eve, a spot opens up in San Diego. He has to get there the next day. This mentor, who happens to be actually a Henderson police officer, outstanding mentor.
What branch of service was he in?
Marine Corps.
Oh, see, that's why.
But he picks him up, takes him to lunch, talks to him, gives him a pep talk, takes him to the bus station, buys a bus ticket, and gets him to San Diego. And he's been in the program since.
Wow.
and doing well. And they're not a taxi service or anything, but they're there to support these individuals and help in any way. And that just simply would have been a lost opportunity for this veteran and for the court itself if he was not able to make that treatment when that bed finally opened up, that inpatient treatment.
How many veterans go through your Veterans Court, and how many have you graduated so far?
And I'm pretty sure it's 11 now that have graduated, and we probably have had close to 50 total, but there's probably maybe 35 to 40 in the program right now. We want to keep it to 50 because it's so difficult.
And you hold us every week.
Every week.
You know, it's amazing, Judge Stevens, how you hold a Veterans Court program in the municipality of Henderson once a week, and Las Vegas Justice holds it once a month, which you think that they might have 100 times more more veterans going through their program than you do.
Well, and maybe it's because their workload is just extremely overwhelming. I don't know. I just know that for me to do it the way we want to do it and to do it our way, we have to have it every week.
You won't go with the right, just our way.
Our way to
He's
do it.
political too, isn't he?
Frank Sinatra.
Well, I just appreciate that other judges are out there doing this as well. To include,
sure, I'm not knocking them. I'm just curious how you're doing it once a week and they're doing it once a month, and their jurisdiction is a whole lot larger than yours.
He has a model program that other people can take a look at and pattern their program after.
Well, quite frankly, there's the first Veterans Court really was established in Buffalo, New York in 2008. And they're kind of the model that we've tried to go by.
Right.
Now, we're just misdemeanors, so it is a little different than many veterans courts, but with the same concepts of using mentors and just all the assets you have in the community.
And you verify that they are, in fact, a veteran, right?
Correct.
A lot of stolen valor going on out there as well.
And we don't need any of that on our court. But no, what we've gone to is the VFWs and various organizations to try to attract.
So where is the VFW in Henderson, Judge?
There's one on Lake Mead.
Oh, okay. There you go.
All right.
I, in fact, just joined one recently, too. That's the one on Green Valley Parkway, but they have a temporary one.
Well, let me ask you something, Judge. But besides the Veterans Court, what else, in your capacity of a municipal court judge, what else do you do?
Well, it's all misdemeanor cases, as well as some traffic as well, but primarily misdemeanor cases, primarily DUIs, domestic batteries, stalking, marijuana and drug paraphernalia. But I would say the two biggest are, of course, domestic batteries as well as DUIs.
Okay. I was going to ask you a question, but you couldn't answer it if you even wanted to. But I'll strike my thought process. But what do you want to be? What do you want to remain as a municipal court judge in the city of Henderson?
Well, first off, I love the job. Feel like you make a difference.
Give me something more exciting.
I also want to maintain this Veterans Court. Okay. I mean, our goal is, and I think the whole team's goal is, every month to improve it.
Right.
And from where we were a year ago or a year and a half ago, it's light years. And I think we continue to do that because we've got a great team and adding new things and new ideas and just improving the whole program.
And you've been a sitting judge in Henderson for how long again?
Well, in April it'll be 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah. First term.
What was the most heart-wrenching moment as a judge in your courtroom? I'm sure there's something that sticks out.
Although it was charged as misdemeanors, I guess most heart-wrenching was when I was a prosecutor and I had a young man, 17 years old, got ran over by his boss, who was highly intoxicated and ran over and killed. And just the tragedy in the family's life. Those are the most difficult. But I think some of the mental health issues that we get, the individual with a lot of mental health issues, those are really difficult, whether they be veterans or not. Those are difficult. And
what would you recommend for these mental health issues? What would you suggest?
Well, I know it's not popular at this time, but we need more facilities. The jails and prisons certainly aren't the place to try to treat these individuals. And with the Veterans Court, we certainly deal with a lot of mental health issues. Mm-hmm. But fortunately, we have the VA to help provide some of those services, which we don't necessarily have obviously, if they're not veterans. So it's more difficult.
You want to explain how the Veterans Court work from when the defendant first come before you and until the graduation part?
Sure. We try to identify them really early on in the process. So I tell you, I've had great cooperation with the police department as well as the jail in cooperating and trying to get these folks into the program. So we start early on. As soon as they're arrested or booked into the Henderson jail, one of the questionnaires or questions on the booking is, are you in the military or have you served in the military?
So it's on your intake.
It's now on the intake, on the computerized intake, so that an alert goes to our court so that we know early on that they're in the military.
Right.
And that's key, so that because the other departments then transfer their cases, their veterans' cases, to my department. Okay. So if they have a veteran that comes up and it might be a good prospect for the Veterans Court, they go ahead and transfer it.
So does the veteran have to request to go to Veterans Court?
Correct. It's a voluntary thing because you really have to want to change your life,
right.
And get on the right track. Otherwise, they're not right for the program.
Right.
But we really use the the camaraderie that takes place in the courtroom with these fellow veterans that want to help themselves out. And it's amazing to see the transformation a year later or however long it takes them to get through the program, assuming they make it through the program. But anyway, as far as the process, so we identify them early on. We've got a couple of officers.
So what happens if they don't make it through the program, Judge? What would you do with them?
Ultimately, I mean, we work with them and try to get them on the right track, but ultimately, I haven't had to do that yet, but we certainly have some that,
hypothetically, if you had to do that, what would you do?
They get a conviction on the record, and they may do substantial jail time,
Gotcha.
Additional jail time beyond what they've already served, because they've got to want to change and make these changes in their life.
Sure.
But then ultimately they get assigned to my court. And what I can say is we have a couple of corrections officers that are appointed as veterans liaisons to the court.
So let me stop you right there, Judge. So both the public defender's office and the district attorney's office, they're on board with this program, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
If there's an act of violence, then the prosecutor needs to stipulate essentially to them being in the program, and that's the way the statute's written. Now the statute's written more for district court level,
right?
And we're municipal court level,
Right.
but we try to utilize that
Gotcha.
to the extent possible for that. And we've done an extra thing. If there's a victim involved, the victim has to want them to be in the program.
Wow.
Because ultimately the case, if they're successful, is dismissed and sealed, these misdemeanors. So
how important is that, being dismissed and sealed? So people that have no clue would understand.
Well, a lot of folks in the military may want to join or take a job that would require them to have a firearm, or other jobs that they wouldn't qualify for if the case isn't ultimately dismissed and sealed. So it really gives them a chance to totally get their life
back on track.
I mean, you get these folks that come back with, they may have served 4 tours, or with PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, or even injuries that they started taking medication, painkillers, and then we have those drug and alcohol issues related from those. Okay. And it's really, if we get them on track as a society, we're much better off as well,
right,
overall. And, my time as a police officer, one of the things that was more difficult is finding homeless individuals or individuals that are really down on luck and just keep getting arrested. And it might be a Purple Heart recipient, Silver Star, and all these folks, and you see them in that status.
It breaks your heart.
Quite frankly, it breaks your heart. And a lot of them are Vietnam vets that weren't necessarily willing to go to the VA and do these things because they didn't view the VA as being supportive enough. And I think we're changing that with these folks. They're going to the VA and finding out, what, the VA really can provide some good services. And the good thing is, too, once they're through with the program, they still have the VA. Mm-hmm. So if they need follow-up treatment and just counseling and stuff, they still have that even once they're through the program. So it's not like we just wash our hands of them.
Right.
And hopefully we get them back, some of these individuals, as mentors and supporting fellow veterans.
Well, I just want to let you know, Andre did a background check on you. He couldn't find anything that was disturbing. So.
Well, I appreciate that. That's very good. I would be quite surprised.
That's why he's quiet. There's no ammunition.
Well, and you get me talking about my veterans court, and I probably you're not going to get me to shut up because I'm really excited about
Judge,
it.
we're going to have to wrap this up. How can we get a hold of you?
Okay.
Or anybody support your campaign?
Certainly on the website for the city of Henderson, that's on there. The municipal court's on there as well. There's also a 501(c)(3).
What about your campaign website? Is that up?
Yes, it is.
Okay, what's that?
VoteMarkStevens.com.
Okay, a phone number that's on the site, maybe?
I think we have your phone number on there, or I think maybe my campaign manager and my phone number are both on there.
Okay. What's that, Judge?
My phone number directly is 267-3350.
You don't get a lot of calls now.
That's okay.
Well, Judge Mark Stevens, we want to thank you for being on the program.
And if there's any veterans that want to be mentors, please stop by. We'd love to see them.
Okay. That's Judge Mark Stevens, the Henderson Municipal Court Judge. This is Steve Sands, Andre Haynes with Veterans in Politics. Until next week.
Views and opinions expressed on this program were those of the hosts and guests.